welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 425. If you're writing a book or thinking about it or trying to finish your book or trying to let people know about your book, or really most things related to books, you are in the right place. Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh. If you're looking for me online, Christine Inc., Christine-Inc.com. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that 3 things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn a quote-unquote non-author into a published one. Those 3 things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. One day, our descendants will think it incredible that we paid so much attention to things like the amount of melanin in our skin, or the shape of our eyes, or our gender, instead of the unique identities of each of us as complex human beings. And that is from Franklin Thomas, activist, philanthropist, and former president of the Ford Foundation. So once again, good morning and happy Tuesday. And as many of you know, 1 week from Saturday, and this is after over 3 years of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears, my memoir, The Power of the Curve, will be published. And I can't believe I just said 1 week. Oh my gosh, that is jarring to say out loud, 1 week. I never feel like I'm ready for this. And even after having published a few books and certainly dozens for my clients, but those are their books, not mine, I never feel like I'm ready. I definitely don't feel like I've done all the launch things I could be doing because, hello, I'm a perfectionist. And I'm sure those of you who have launched books can probably relate. But anyway, over the weekend, I launched the book's landing page, which is powerofthecurve.com. Powerofthecurve.com. I'll put that in the notes too. On this page, you can get more information about my book. And most importantly for you, you can download a free excerpt from it, powerofthecurve.com. And I hope you will check that out. Now, this book is for a few groups of people, memoir fans, of course, and I know there's a huge audience of memoir fans because as human beings, we love to hear each other's stories of how we're surviving this crazy thing called life. So definitely fans of that, especially given my life and death. By the way, quite literally, not to give away the plot, but life and death, quite literally, my struggles with severe scoliosis. And I hope my fellow Scully warriors, my fellow scoliosis survivors, will enjoy the book. But beyond that, my book is absolutely about personal growth and development, especially for creative people like us. It is about navigating life's curves, as I call them. And as we've seen this year, life curves can show up without warning. Life curves can just hit you. So here is a bit from the book description, just to further put it into focus for you, in case you're wondering if my memoir is for you, would be a great read for you. This story isn't about navigating normal. It's about finding your way around all the abnormal life curves, the confusing ones, painful ones, shocking ones, and growth ones. It's about finding and embracing the strength, surprises, lessons, and ultimately the power in all of life's curves. So I hope you will visit powerofthecurve.com. And for you all, of course, this is about you. I want to share some lessons that come to mind for me that I learned from the process of writing, publishing, and now launching my book. Number 1. And this is something I tell my authors all the time, but I'm going to hit on it here once again, especially since I finished doing it recently on my own book. Always do the final proof yourself. So as in, once the book is laid out and ready to go to print, that final you get from your layout person or your publisher, whoever's helping you publish your book, that final proof, don't delegate that. You might have delegated all the editing and proofreading up until that, totally fine. Not the final one. This is not something to delegate. So not just for your peace of mind, but remember that is your name on the cover of the book, not your publisher, not your editor, not your proofreader, not your administrative assistant, not your intern, not your aunt, your mom, your whoever's helping you with your book. That is your name on the cover of the book. The buck stops with you. Therefore, make sure it's your eyes on that last proof. Another lesson I learned, and this is for nonfiction and especially memoir authors, be as vulnerable as possible, even when it feels icky. Because trust me, there were times when I really wanted to hold back because it felt icky or outright censor myself throughout my life story. But you know what? I breathed deeply. I pushed through them. Those of you who do yoga like I do, think about when you're in those uncomfortable positions and your teacher tells you to breathe through it. Shout out to my teacher, Andrea, here. She's so great at that. So breathe through the discomfort of those positions. And remember, this is about your readers. It's not about you. It's about your readers. So breathe through those moments and be as vulnerable as possible, obviously making sure it, stays consistent with the message and structure of your book. But don't hold back when it's required for you to be vulnerable. A third thing that I learned when telling your story, well, I already knew this, reinforced it though. When telling your story, I find that using scenes with dialogue is far more effective and engaging than simply talking about your story. Like just saying, this is what happened, and then this, and then this, then that. Write it as a movie scene because it's a better way to really put you and your readers, right there in that scene. Remember to speak from your point of view at the time. So not the all wise and knowing. Sometimes we like to disconnect from our life moments and say, oh, well, now I know that I was experiencing this and that. So for these moments, when you're putting scenes in your memoir, just any type of book where you're telling stories about yourself, when you're in those scenes, make sure it is you at that time, not you, the all-knowing, powerful Oz now. So put yourself and your readers right there in those moments. Super, super impactful way of sharing those experiences. And finally, start talking about your book in progress now. That's right. Even before you have an organized launch plan, start the conversation with your readers that you want to have through your book now. Because yes, an organized marketing plan is nice, but really, the people you're seeking to help, they need to hear from you now just as much as they'll need to hear from you in book form, like a year or even further out from now. It's not like your readers only have these needs because your book happens to be published. If they're struggling now, don't make them wait a year or longer before you start speaking to them, before you start helping them. You have all this in your head. It might not be in book form. You have your stories. You have your messages. Start speaking to the people who need you now. Remember, it's not about you. It's about them. And I hope these are helpful tips, especially for those of you telling your own life story. And again, I will be sure and drop a link to my book's landing page in the show notes, powerofthecurve.com. I hope you enjoy the excerpt. And I hope you enjoy the whole book on June 20th, which is, oh my gosh, just over a week out. Thank you for joining me here on your daily writing habit, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And if you know someone else who wants to do the same, they could go to yourdailywritinghabit.com. Until tomorrow, happy writing.